Good afternoon. I'm John Nelson, Vice President of Operations at BBI International. Thank you for joining me today for Biodiesel Magazine's 2021 editorial preview. We'll be covering a few items on this presentation. We'll be looking at some of the news online, some of the digital press packages, the audience breakdown, some print facts of what the audience looks like, the presence and reach, some editorial highlights of what are the themes. That's what a lot of people are on here for, to kind of get an idea of what we're going to be writing about, and then talk a little about an exclusive webinar discount coming up. But before I jump into that, I do want to make sure I put some emphasis on this webinar and on the editorial scope of Biodiesel Magazine. Biodiesel Magazine is a trade journal dedicated to objective, independent coverage of biodiesel and renewable diesel production, news and information vital to the global biodiesel industry. We have editorial focus on U.S. and international markets, and biodiesel has provided valuable insight into those growing segments of the renewable fuels industry for more than 15 years. Since 2004, Biodiesel Magazine has covered the biodiesel sector from its fledgling industrial roots to full-scale commercialization and mainstream acceptance. Again, we're proud of Biodiesel Magazine, and really no other trade journal, and we can really hang our hat on this, but no other trade journal has dedicated as much time, attention, and resources to this niche segment of the renewable industry. And so we feel that it's really unrivaled. Our insight is, we have the greatest insight. We have strong connections, and it really comes down since we've been covering this industry from the beginning. So again, just to kind of give you an editorial scope of what Biodiesel Magazine is, I really wanted to review that and make sure everyone was understanding what we're covering and how long we've been around. We do have a great staff, a very seasoned staff of writers that cover the magazine, cover articles in the magazine. We have a lot of contributions from the industry as well. We have a great account team that's been with the industry from the beginning, and we have got a marketing and production team that really keeps an eye on the look and keeps pushing the magazine forward. So there's a big team behind it, and we've been around for a long time. So I want to jump into kind of the stats online. We're very proud of our stats, but we have a few things going on here. So when we're looking at advertising, there's some options here, and we want to make everyone familiar with what those are and what the numbers look like. So if you're looking to advertise in Biodiesel Magazine or on biodieselmagazine.com, we've got options, and there are quite, and we've got some stats that you can look at and make sure you're targeting the biodiesel industry. So our Biodiesel World newsletter goes out every 2 weeks, and we go to 12,350 subscribers. Now, these are dedicated subscribers, people who said, I want to subscribe to this magazine, this newsletter. They are focused solely on biodiesel. They want to hear news. They want to hear the latest products. And so this is a great option if you're looking to do some advertising and get into people's inboxes. These are really created throughout the world. We've got quite a few of these subscribers focused on the U.S. Majority are probably on the U.S., as we'll get into the stats here in a little bit. But in addition to that, you are hitting biodiesel around the world with this newsletter. Same goes for biodieselmagazine.com, and we're going to look at our page views. And so every month we've got more than 33,000 page views on Biodiesel Magazine. So again, if you're looking to advertise and you want to hit the biodiesel market, people interested in those stories, this is the audience. This is where they are going online to read. You can see per year we have 405,000 average page views per year. And so really it really speaks volumes to the constant content that we are putting up there on a daily basis, the newsletters that are going out and circulating that. taking a look at the visits, again, any of these stats, if you look at the slide, are from Google Analytics. And so the majority are from the U.S., but you can see India, Canada, UK, Germany, and so on are on those lists as well. So we do have a strong following outside the U.S. in the international markets as well. Now, if you look at social media, this is a number we're extremely proud of. If you look at Biodiesel Magazine's followings on Twitter, we've got more than 6,000. If you look on Facebook, we have more than 3,000, and then we also have some on LinkedIn. We are showing you the network referrals because those are stories that are being posted on those social media sites, which are ultimately directing back to our website and are helping drive traffic and SEO. And when people click on those stories, they're going to read the stories, but also see an advertisement that you may have on the website. Our digital press package. This is an option that we like to talk about now that, when as marketers, you're always kind of looking to get more stats, more analytics. How is our ROI on our investment? Really, we created this digital press package to kind of fill that gap. So when you're looking at options that are really trackable and you can pull some analytics on, a digital press package is a great outlet, especially if you're trying to really ramp some information out quickly. With our digital press package, you can send out a press release to our news feed, dedicated biodiesel list of 32,000 plus subscribers. So you can see here's an example right here of what a press release may look like. And we can write it for you, or you can write it yourself. There's some difference in costs by doing that, but that is an option, and that'll go out to our 32,000 subscribers. Plus, we will post that press release to a national wire and give you analytics on where it was posted on a national energy press wire. So it's a lot of bang for your buck. You can buy that individually, or you can buy it as part of this entire package. So you've got two items there with the press release, but you also have online advertising with the press package, and you would get a medium rectangle on our website, which includes the stats I showed you earlier. You can get two on the homepage, two inside the articles, and so on. So again, you can get a lot of exposure. You can track the stats. You can look at your analytics at the end of the month, see how things are going, see how your ad is performing, drive people back to your website. So there are 1, 2, 3 options there. And then we also have a fourth. And as I mentioned, I talked about the social media on the previous slide. You also have this fourth option. We will send out the press release to our social media platforms as well. So you'll be able to really gain maximum exposure quickly and track everything that's going on as well. So it's become a very popular package in today's digital age as things get more and more digital. One thing I also want to talk about before we jump into this are some other options that we do have, and so I want to talk a little bit specifically about, if I'm looking at my notes, looking at some of the advertising opportunities that are out there. So you've got your Biodiesel World News, you've got your biodieselmagazine.com, you've got our digital print package, and then we go into our digital press package, and then we go into more of our print packages here. And so this is a breakdown of our magazine, our print magazine. Now this goes out to every production facility on our producer map. So you can be sure the number one thing, again, with any print magazine and anything we do on a print scale, we will be sending it to all production facilities. So if that's the audience that you are reaching, Biodiesel Magazine is where you want to be. So our audience profile is we send out 5,000 per issue. That it contains 41 countries. And we know from outside stats from a third party that did some analytics for us. We know that there are about 2.6 readers per issue. We send to 860 future and existing producers. So our audience comes into about 13,000 on our print. So if we're going to say actual issues and how many times they're read and who's getting it, and we calculate about 13,000 is our total audience. Again, majority are inside the U.S., but if you look at the industries of who's reading it, we do hit our conventional producers, and then you can see it also hits consultants, petroleum technology engineers, and so on. And we can give you more analytics, more breakdown on that with our account managers. Some print facts. Some of the questions we get about our print issues are, well, what about print? Is print still relevant? And quite honestly, it is. It is, and we have, again, more analytics. And if you go into our media kit, we can show you even more analytics on this, on some of our sourcing, where this is coming from. But what we find is, after doing some third-party reviews, we find ads and magazines just have more, are more engaging and are valued hands down more than other ads. They kind of cut through the clutter, because if you're going through a magazine, you're really invested in that time. You're looking at that ad, and you're engaged in that ad. 52% of our readers in magazines recall a product or service. 62% of readers act after seeing a print magazine ad. So, again, it's a very engaging way to get your presence known to the biodiesel industry. If you want to get to producers and you want them engaged in your product or your service, Biodiesel Magazine is a great option. And you can see here some other stats, and we find this across the board, not just print, but we also find this in digital and whatever it may be, and it makes sense. But larger ads and premium positions create stronger awareness. There's a reason why they cost more, why it costs more to have a full page ad than it does a quarter page or a skyscraper digital ad than a small rectangle. So because they are more engaging and more eyeballs will be on your advertisement and on your product or service. And this is just kind of a nice one we put in, and really experience with magazine ads are most positive. So if you're looking at all these other options, digital, TV, radio, newspaper, and I think this goes for myself. If I think back to, I'm looking through a magazine and looking at an ad or versus these other options, I kind of tend to do that myself. I think of it more in a positive light. Okay, so some presence and reach. What we're covering here is we have our products and services spotlight. So this is an outstanding option where you can actually, you can call it custom content is really what we can call it as well. But what we'll do is we will, if you're interested in having an article about your company or your product inside Biodiesel Magazine, we have an option for you. It goes into a special products and services spotlight feature section, and we'll look at focusing on your particular your company and do a write-up. And a lot of people like this option because now they can say featured in or as seen in Biodiesel Magazine, and it really adds credibility to you and to your products and your services. So again, biodiesel producers will be reading this, and they'll see there's an article about you in there, and hopefully you're going to gain that credibility, and you're going to get a call when they're looking for that particular product or service that you are offering. So looking at the map, we just had the map close. Looks great. We have the U.S. and Canada biodiesel plant map. Again, this goes out to all producers, and this is one of those very popular items that we have available. And this goes, we mail these out, and this goes to all subscribers as well. But we do send this out, and people hang them up on their wall. It shows all the production levels and so on. So this is a very popular option. Look for the U.S. and Canada biodiesel plant map advertising. Contact your account manager. See when you can get on the next one. The shelf life is phenomenal on these because they're sitting up for a year. So it's a great bang for your buck. If you're looking to just have your company's logo or an ad up on a producer's wall, this is where you want to go. Again, I mentioned Biodiesel World News, e-newsletter earlier. Another option is that people kind of forget about. If you are featured in the Spotlight section, you could have your magazine reprinted. We can reprint this for you, format it, reprint it, send it to you. So you can have copies for maybe it's leave behinds that you have, or at your at booths that you go to, or events, and really collateral that really provides your audience with an option that shows how credible you are. You were featured in a top industry publication. So we can do reprints for you as well. The Biodiesel Industry Directory, this just closed. It actually was extremely popular last year, and I didn't think we could beat the numbers this year, but it actually is higher. We have with the number of listings that are coming in. So it's extremely popular this year, and we have the new Biodiesel Industry Directory coming out. It is attached to the winter issue of Biodiesel Magazine. So it's on the back side. So advertising inside Biodiesel Magazine is still available. I will talk about that later, but you can still get an ad inside the issue that is connected with the Biodiesel Industry Directory. Again, this is extremely popular, extremely long shelf life, basically lasts a year. This is where biodiesel producers will go and say, well, these are people that understand the biodiesel industry. And so they'll have this on their desk and they will look at it. It is distributed at all the major events, the National Biodiesel Boards Conference, the NBC. We send it to all those attendees as well. And so again, extremely long shelf life, and there still are options to get inside that issue that has the Biodiesel Industry Directory connected to it. Custom content press releases, I talked a little bit about that earlier, so I will skip over that. And then we have our Biodiesel Magazine webinar series. And as the world has kind of gone upside down here with events to some extent, but webinars are extremely popular. People can view your content inside the safety of your office or your home, and you get to we'll help you build a webinar that showcases what you do. Really, when we look at this, we kind of ask the question of, what have you done to help a biodiesel producer in the last year, 2 years? And let's talk about that. Let's showcase that. Let's make this a real field, real life experience, real in-field experience that we can showcase. And those become popular. And so as you do more of that, more case study, really demonstrate what you're doing, the more popular they are and more people that go on it. And again, what's nice about that is you get to, just like this webinar, you get to take a look at who was on that webinar, and we help cultivate those leads and give them to you. And it's a really good bang for your buck. If you're just looking at quick guerrilla marketing, I need to generate some leads, this is an outstanding option to do. In addition, we will be marketing it on our newsletters, on our website. So you're going to get some added bonus, added impressions with your Biodiesel Magazine webinar as well. So it's a really good bang for your buck, really good way to just generate leads quickly. Okay. So many of you have been waiting for some of the editorial highlights. Now this year, what we're going to be in our bonus distribution, I don't want to forget about that, but really we're going to be doing 2 issues this year. And so we kind of said, what are the most popular topics that we're going to be covering in those issues? We're going to be doing our winter issue, and we're going to be doing our summer issue. Now the winter issue is one of our most popular issues. It always has been, and it continues to be. And especially when we're looking at who's going in it already, who's contributing, and who's being a part of this winter issue as it's being developed. But this is, again, as I mentioned earlier, this is connected with the Biodiesel Industry Directory. So very strong shelf life. So if you're looking like, hey, I want to get my foot in the door, I just want to see if I can, pique some interest inside the biodiesel industry, this is the issue to get into. I highly, highly recommend it. And so some of the themes that we're going to be looking at covering are project development, process design, plant optimization, expansions, retrofits, etc. And so you can kind of look down the list And so if you have a product or service that you feel fits in those categories, there's quite a few. So it's a very broad, but we expect it to be somewhat broad because of its shelf life. Because we're doing 2 issues, we have opened up these themes, and we want to just kind of make sure we're covering the best and the most relevant things that are happening right now inside the biodiesel industry. Bonus distribution. Now, with obviously some events going virtual, we are looking at how these are distributed. So when we look at, for example, the National Biodiesel Conference and Expo, it is virtual at this point. And so we are working with them and in agreement with them to distribute it to their attendees. So if we have to, either they send their list, in some ways we'll make sure every attendee gets a copy of it. We can make it digital, or we can send a print version to all their attendees. Same with the IRFA, the Iowa Renewable Fuel Summit, their event as well, same thing. Biomass Conference and Expo, we just announced that is going virtual in March. We'll be doing the same thing. We actually those are lists that we have, and we will be distributing physical copies to all those attendees. And as you can see, you can kind of go down here. The Biodiesel Production Technology Summit, we do plan on doing that again with the International Fuel Ethanol Workshop and Expo. It was successful last year. We had a lot of positive feedback, and so we are planning on doing the Biodiesel Production Technology Summit again with the International Fuel Ethanol Workshop. Now, that show is a physical show. We still have it on the books as a physical event. So hopefully that will hold in June, and we'll be able to have an outstanding physical event in Minneapolis. So you kind of get an idea of where this magazine is distributed. It's very popular with the directory attached to it. So now let's take a look at the summer issue. And one thing I do want to say before I jump off this is it does close at the end of November. So definitely reach out to Chip or Howard, one of the account managers, or contact service at BBI International if you're interested in advertising inside this publication. We still have time to get you inside the winter issue. Okay, the 2021 summer issue. Here's some of the themes that we'll be covering: feedstock collection, brokering, trading, co-location, feedstock developments, fuel quality, additives, etc., and so on and so on. So you can kind of take a look there as well of what we're going to be covering in those issues. You can also see where we're going to be distributing these. So we are going to circle back, and we are going to hit some of these because there's only 2 issues. We are going to circle back and distribute to some of these events as well, and make sure we're hitting them up twice. So in addition to these events, we will be sending the publication to all production facilities on our map inside the U.S. and Canada. That is just a staple of what we do. So again, you could rest assured that if you are putting an ad inside this publication, it is getting to biodiesel producers. With that, we'd like to thank you for attending, and we just want to let you know a little bit about some of the upcoming events. We have Pellet Mill Magazine's 2021 Editorial Outlook on Thursday, and then next week we have Ethanol Producer Magazine's 2021 Editorial Outlook, and then Biomass Magazine's Editorial Outlook next week as well, next Thursday. So we hope you can join us for those and become familiar with those themes. And then we also have the International Biomass Conference and Expo, and that's going to be virtual, March 15th through the 17th, and the International Fuel Ethanol Workshop and Expo. And as I mentioned, we also have the Biodiesel Production Technology Summit connected to the International Fuel Ethanol Workshop. So we hope you can join us for that. And as a thank you for being on today's webinar, we'd like to provide you with 20% off on a full-page print ad. This is in addition to the option or the possibility of winning a free ad just for registering and attending this event. So we'll be reaching out to the winners winner of that ad, of that free advertisement. But if you do want to take advantage of this, we definitely hope you do. We hope you choose to place your advertisements with Biodiesel Magazine, and we appreciate you being on, and we look forward to 2021. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for being with us.